What is good, all of our listeners and viewers? Welcome back to another episode of Games and Groceries. My name is Adam.
And I'm Liz.
And I'm evidently hard to listen to. Woo! We're here with episode 118, where we're going to be talking about the ripple effect of the Life is Strange series with Dayeanne Hutton. But first, we've got some segments for you. Yes, we do.
Yep.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. I got out of work early today.
You did.
It was nice.
Yeah. My legs hurt.
I'm sorry.
Ow! Yeah, that's how I say. Yeah, so evidently I am very hard to listen to because I'm wacky.
Wacky.
I don't know. It's just, here's the thing. I'm not even trying to put on a show. Like, this is literally how I act off camera.
Yes.
And you can you can attest to that.
Yes.
I will try to pull
If you would like, we have home videos of him acting like this.
Jeez. I will try to pull back the wackiness, evidently. I do want to craft this podcast into something that some people enjoy. But, yeah, you know, it's all improvement. But,
yeah,
you know, wacky. Anyways, thanks for coming to this episode. By the way, if you want to fast forward to Dayeanne Hutton's part, we have different segments for you. But if you want just to go ahead to Dayeanne Hutton, we've got some timestamps for you in the description down below, whether you're listening to audio or video, because this is the American podcast. Do with it how you want. It is what it is. But let's roll into some business news. We got social media accounts.
we do.
Yeah, we're on Twitter at Gaming Groceries, or you can follow us individually. I'm at Ace the Grocer.
And I'm at Journey First.
You can follow us individually there, and then you can follow us on Instagram, Games and Groceries, all one word, where you can see behind the scenes photos, some wacky photos that I'll share, as well as some questions I'll ask about the podcast, both on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to be in on a discussion, I've got some questions on there. You can be a part of it. Check us out on Facebook. We got a website, gamesgroceries.com, where you can listen to all the podcasts from the website, as well as you can find out where you can listen to the audio versions of the podcast.
Woo, you did it.
I did it, as well as some articles I've written in the past. And finally, if you're here on YouTube, how you doing? You doing great? Awesome. Definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you know when all of these podcasts come out. If you're just like, hey, when do these podcasts come out? Well, if you hit the subscribe button, you'll always know. You'll be in the inner circle of Games and Groceries. So, and definitely consider leaving us a review, whether you're on iTunes or on Podchaser. Podchaser link down in the description down below. And with all that garbage out of the way, we can get started with our show. What do you think?
I think we're ready.
Welcome to Games and Groceries. Games and Groceries, everybody. Let's just get started with our first segment.
Movie Minutes.
Movie Minutes is a segment that we talk about the movies that we watched in the past week, whether it be on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. Not really in theaters, just this point. And we like to review it and give you a recommendation or not a recommendation. And hey, it's Spooktober! We're going to be reviewing all the spooky movies that we can find. This week's movie isn't spooky. We made a mistake. Thought it was spooky. But whatever. So here on Games and Groceries, we have a 5-point system of rating a movie. It's 5 points starting at avoid at all costs, pass, enjoyable, solid, and perfect for us. So this week's movie can be found, Movie Minutes can be found at Netflix. It's called The Devil All Time.
Woo!
Starring Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson and Bill Skarsgård and Douglas
someone and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, a big cast here.
Yeah.
Huge cast. So we thought this would be a spookier movie because I thought there would be a lot of...
Trailers looked creepy.
I thought it would be more creepy, but it is what it is. So we're starting Spooktober in a dumb light, but here we are.
Well, we watched it on the first day of October, so you gotta ease your way into the
Spook.
Next week, I'll try and get something scarier for us.
Spooktober. So let's get started. Go.
Well,
Opening thoughts.
I'm like trying to like think of the words. We were a little disappointed.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we thought this was going to be like a creepy movie, not even scary, just creepy.
Yeah.
So the whole time, like for the first hour, I was like waiting for the creepy thing to happen. And then I was like, I I don't think this is supposed to be a creepy movie. I think we were highly mistaken. And then we watched another review and we were done and they were calling it a tragedy. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's a tragedy film. Because we went into this movie kind of blind.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I thought it would be more spiritual. I thought this movie would be more creepy. I thought there would be more spiritual presence in, like the devil all the time. I thought the devil would be more present.
I think it just meant like the devil was present in their life.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
But let's get started with my first note. Now, this movie, the reason why I thought this was a horror going into it, dead on. Within the first 20 minutes, this guy is a huge fan of Stanley Kubrick. It's heavily inspired from Stanley Kubrick films. If you're familiar with Stanley Kubrick, he directed Clockwork Orange, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and why I thought this would be a creepy movie, The Shining.
Yeah.
Which Stephen King did not enjoy, but it is what it is.
Neither did
you did not enjoy. No, you were not a big Stanley Kubrick fan.
No.
That's why I've never showed
seen
you
his other movies, but I saw The Shining and I was extremely disappointed.
Well, that's why I didn't show you 2001: A Space Odyssey, because that movie I absolutely love. Clockwork Orange,
yeah,
but he's directed many more films than that. But those are the big, hitters for Stanley Kubrick. Argue with me. I'm at Ace DeGross on Twitter. But this movie is definitely inspired with that, with the narratives in the beginning. It's an older style of creepy. It's just trying to put you at an uneasy state, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way Stanley Kubrick did it.
He wants you to wait for the next thing to happen.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Which is why it's extremely long.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour and 18-minute film. And that's why I thought this would be more of a Stanley Kubrick style horror movie where it's just an uneasy, just gripping you, like what's going to happen here.
If it was supposed to be that, then it was worse than The Shining.
Well, let's anyway. Second point. That's the thing. You go into this movie and you're just a little disappointed because you think it's a Stanley Kubrick style, but we'll move forward here.
Yeah.
Now there are some superb performances.
Yes, by no means is this bad acting or even a bad story.
I want to say Robert Pattinson's performance was just phenomenal.
Yes.
Anybody that says Robert Pattinson is a bad actor and they only think of Twilight needs to watch Good Time. You need to watch The Rover.
You need to watch pretty much anything else that he's in.
You need to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
they actually had a lot of English actors.
Yeah, Tom Holland's British.
Playing Southern American.
Yeah.
In the 60s and 50s.
Yeah, this is in the 50s and 60s. It's based on a church cult. By the way, one thing, both Christians here. Hi. If you're a Christian, you're like, why do they make creepy movies about Christians? Well, stop being creepy Christians, and maybe we won't get this kind of limelight. Anyways, but absolutely fantastic performances from Tom Holland, especially. Really, especially Robert Pattinson had fantastic performance. Bill Skarsgård, of course. You can't go wrong with him.
Oh, the kid who played the cousin in Harry Potter, Dudley. I don't remember.
Oh, Dudley.
I don't know his real name.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's in it.
Actually, I think his real name is Harry.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I think his name is Harry something.
Anyways, but
whatever.
Here's the thing, though, about the performances. Nothing really seems to have a purpose. And that's the most frustrating part, is that every person has a great performance in this movie, but nobody really seems to have like a divine purpose here.
Yeah.
Like everybody could be expendable.
Yeah.
Nobody's really there. I'm like gripping at my feet to these characters because I'm not really invested in them.
Yeah.
But they're so well performed.
Yes.
It's such a shame.
Like it's mostly the plot that's the problem. The story is a decent story. The acting is amazing. The writing is great. It's just the point of the story.
It's the way it's executed.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, all these stories kind of tied together very well.
Yes.
Like I said, the performances, you can believe in the characters. It's just that the plot doesn't execute well.
Yeah.
And then you don't really care about the story, Nia. And this is my last point. At the end, nothing felt closed, even though all the loose ends were tied up. Like it just made you feel dissatisfied. That's the best way I can put this movie. it left me dissatisfied. Picture one of those Facebook those Facebook videos are like, oh, satisfying videos, and it's just like a sharp knife going through cheddar and stuff, and it's like, oh, I feel satisfied. Now picture that, but like the opposite.
But like the knife never completes the cut.
That's what it feels like. Like it's those satisfying videos, but it's like a troll video, and that's what I mean. You feel dissatisfied. Like everything ties up. And it does the job, but you're just left. Ugh.
Yeah.
So let's just jump into our final ratings in our 5-point system. What did you give it? Go.
I gave it a pass. Like I said, it wasn't horrible. I was deceived in what it was actually, what genre it was. I don't know if that's my fault or Netflix's fault. I'm going to blame it on Netflix.
Okay.
Just because it's easier. But I felt like it was too long.
Yeah.
Like I felt like, yes, they had a good story, but I felt like it could have been shorter. They could have cut a couple things out here and there.
Yeah.
To make it closer to like under 2 hours, like an hour 45 or something.
Yeah.
But that was like my big thing was how long it was, and it just it became very predictable.
It did.
Like,
after a while,
like, all right, so he's gonna do that, and then this is okay. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Okay, and then it's like once you see the beginning of the scene or the beginning of the setup, it's like, oh, so this is gonna happen.
And that's why I still think it's inspired by Stanley Kubrick. This dude loves Stanley Kubrick. But the thing about Stanley, I go by first name with Mr. Stan. I go by Stan. But like Stanley Kubrick films, they just, you know what's going to happen, but not in a way where it's predictable.
Yeah.
You're just rooting for these characters. Where in this one, it's just predictable for the sake of predictability. But that brings me to mine, and it's also a pass from me.
Yeah.
It's in between Avoid at All Costs, which it's fine. I like the performances.
Yeah.
And then it's not enjoyable either. I just give it like, it's past. Just if you're
really interested in it, go for it.
But we're just saying like, give pass.
But it's not something you don't need to waste 2 hours watching this.
Exactly. So, but that's our review of The Devil All the Time. It's on Netflix. If you want to check it out for yourself, go for it. We just don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Only because it leaves you dissatisfied. But if you know what you're going into, maybe you will be less dissatisfied. But who knows? True. But yeah, that's our first segment. It's time to talk about video game news, don't you think?
Video games.
Video games.
Crazy.
Let's just get started with our second segment.
Top 3 Gaming News.
The top 3 gaming news is the gaming news that we saw in the past week, and we like to rank it 3, 2, 1 just to give you a condensed version of what's going on in the gaming industry. I won't do the business twins. This is a less wacky Adam.
Good job.
Business twins. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta go. Okay, so let's just jump into the number 3 gaming news. Again, this is top 3 gaming news. This isn't the top 3.
We know what we think is the top 3 gaming news.
Exactly. So let's just get started with our number 3 gaming news, and it's about EA and children. Ew, gross. I don't know. It's late. So, so this is about EA, and apparently EA pulled an advertisement away from children. What was the advertisement about? The use of microtransactions.
Huh.
Oh, no.
They're going to be in a lot of trouble.
They certainly are, from Twitter users and Reddit users and nobody else. Now, EA has pulled this advertisement, and a Twitter user by the name of EA FIFA Fails, I believe it was. I might be getting that wrong, but the article is linked down below if you want to check it out. The issue of this Smith's Toy magazine, and I believe it's based in the UK. I'm not entirely sure. Somebody saw this page right here, and I have it up right here on the screen. And create your ultimate team. And step 2, use FIFA points to open packs. FIFA points being real world money.
Yeah.
FIFA points.
Yeah.
And so it's building your ultimate team using the microtransactions. And that was in a children's toy magazine targeted towards children. And people flipped out.
Yes.
Rightfully so. Now, they've EA got caught. They said, "Oops." Now I did look on Twitter.
Oh yeah, it sounds like just an oops.
Yeah, really. Now I did look on Twitter, and a lot of people were pointing out like they've done this before, and they showed magazines from like 2 years past, and this is just the first time they're getting caught in this magazine.
Yeah. Well, I think it's that microtransactions are more present. Like people are looking out for them.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. So I want to read this quote from EA. It's in the article linked down below. But EA says, in spite of this, we're rare. My goodness. Let me start this over. In spite of this, we're aware that advertising for FIFA points has appeared in environments it shouldn't have. We have been working diligently with Smiths to ensure that the advertisement is not distributed in any remaining copies of their 2020 catalog. We have also undertaken an immediate review of all future media placements and are working to ensure that each of our marketing efforts better reflects the responsibility we take for the experience of our younger players.
Okay.
That sounds all nice and sweet and all good inside. Okay, so I don't really like to curse much on the podcast, but you know damn well what you did, EA.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, come on.
I'm surprised this didn't accidentally get in the Christmas catalog.
Like, really. Honestly, it's just, you know what you did. Like, you honestly knew what you did. You know what advertise. And here's the thing. EA, you're such a big company. And you could say that, oh, EA, it's such a massive company that they made an oopsie somewhere. But they've done this for years and years and years. And you have to because you're a big company.
They've already had to deal with the government over this matter.
Yeah, they had to be called into court.
Like,
in Parliament.
You don't accidentally put this in there when you're being sued by the government.
By Parliament.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's just like you're such a big company that you could say, oh, we made an oops. But you're such a big company that you shouldn't make this kind of oops.
Yeah.
This is kind of one of those things that like, oh, wait, we're about to send an advertisement to a children's magazine. And somebody who's in marketing and in the marketing department should have been aware of this.
Yeah.
This isn't just an oopsie. And then they say like, oh, we take responsibility. You damn well better take responsibility. Yeah. Holy crap.
In big companies, do you know how many people something has to go through to get approved? Like, you all approved it. Stop playing stupid.
I'm sorry for cursing, everybody. I don't mean it.
We forgive you.
Thank you. But that's the number 3 gaming news. Enough about that. I need to. It's not that I'm like pissed about it personally. I'm pissed about their statement. Like
they're just playing dumb.
They are. Honestly are. It's like, stop it. Stop. You knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Stop. Anyways, but that's number 3 gaming news. Talking about, advertising to children with microtransactions. Oh boy, smart move. So, number 2 gaming news. It's about Cyberpunk 2077 and how, CD Projekt Red is the best company ever. Woohoo! Except they broke their promise about crunch. Oh boy. So here's the thing about crunch in the video game industry. I know exactly what I'm talking about because I've worked in the gaming industry. Blah, blah, blah. No, I haven't. Anyways, but crunch is it's part of the culture of the video game industry. It's not supposed to be. Just like a lot of social issues that are going on today. Oh, it's just part of it. And it shouldn't be from our social standpoint. But the thing about crunch is that you get closer to the release date and the game is still not finished. Sometimes you got to put in the hours and just put in that crunch. And it sucks because us gamers, we need to have our video games, no more delays. And those investors, those backers want to get their money back. So there's not a lot of time to get their video game out. So I get that. But CD Projekt Red said that they will do their very best to avoid crunch at all costs. They're not going to do a crunch on Cyberpunk 2077. And Jason Schreier pointed this out. Now, Jason Schreier also pointed out that an email was sent out to all the staff saying, sorry, mandatory 6-day work weeks. Mandatory. So let me read this email. It's linked down below. It's the Bloomberg article. So the email says from Adam Budkowski. Oh, man, did I say that? Yeah, Badowski. Sorry, Badowski. But saying this. Starting today, the entire development studio is in overdrive. your typical amount of work and 1 day of the weekend. The extra work would be paid as required by the Polish labor laws. Many other video game studios don't pay for overtime. Oh, good for you. He also says, I take it upon myself to receive the full backlash for this decision. I know this is in direct opposition of what we've said about the crunch. It's also in direct opposition to what I personally grew to believe a while back. That crunch should never be the answer. But we've extended all other possible means of navigating the situation. So, okay, so props to Adam Badowski. And he's also come out and said, he's also replied to these articles that are coming out saying, this is the hardest decision I've ever had to make. I didn't want to make the decision. And like he said, a lot of companies won't pay for this. He says the extra work will be paid. Many other video game studios don't pay for overtime. So he's making sure that they're compensated. He's not wanting to. But here's the thing. To try to avoid backlash like this, and here's the thing, to avoid crunch, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Because our greedy gamer brains want this video game.
Well, not only that, like when you said investors, that made me think like he's kind of in a lose-lose situation. He either delays the game again and gets investors incredibly angry as well as customers.
Yeah.
Or he does this and he gets backlash from customers and his employees.
Yeah.
So either way, he's going to get backlash because he's making someone upset.
Exactly. And
unfortunately, the investors are the most important part. They can't continue making it if the investors stop investing. And the investors will probably lose a little hope if they can't seem to produce the game.
Yeah, right on. And that's the thing. I feel bad for Adam Batowski, not only because we share the same first name, but also you can tell that he didn't want to do this. Yeah. And I'm trying not to fault him too much because, one, I have no stake in the company. Why should I fault him? Because I'm on the outside. I'm not even in the same country as this guy.
Yeah.
But you know, this comes from a heavy heart.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the development team. I feel bad for Adam Badowski. I feel bad for CD Projekt Red because they have to put on this image, and everybody's just saying, it's a double standard because everybody thinks that what they did was right. But EA, when they put the grunge, it's a different situation because EA and Activision, especially when they do a crunch, they're just trying to do it, for investor stakes, and the management doesn't really do anything in the crunch. But it seems like CD Projekt Red is, one, compensating for the time, two, with a heavy heart doing it, and three, doing it in a couple months, and four, it's only one weekend. I'm not trying to say that, it's only one weekend, but it's one weekend, like one weekend day. They could have done a 7-day work week, but that's the thing. It could have been a lot worse. I feel bad for the whole development team, and I hope Cyberpunk sells well. Yeah. But, it is what it is.
I always feel like I would rather see the company have to hire more people than making people work on the weekends or extra days or extra hours. Because it's not just the one weekend day. They're probably working over 8 hours a day. Yeah. So it's just those things where it's like, couldn't you have hired more people to get this done rather than making the people that are there work even more? It's unfortunate that they're going to have to work 6-day work weeks until this game comes out.
It's very unfortunate. Now, how about we just move on to our number one gaming news, because we're running out of time, and I won't say too much about this because I'll say why in a second. But Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot has actually come out with the numbers about the abuse things going on in the company. He's actually run some polls, and he's gotten back some results, numbers, and he sent it in a company-wide email. And the company-wide email has been surprising, and he shared the numbers, the statistics with all the staff at Ubisoft about the misconduct allegations. So I'm going to read this entire quote, and let's just get into it. So the final news piece we're going to read is this statement from the letter from Yves Guillemot saying, in a letter which Ubisoft shared with GameSpot, Guillemot references an independent study that garnered nearly 14,000 replies from staff and said that an audit consisted of 100 interviews and 40 focus groups. The findings suggested that 25% of employees experienced or witnessed some form of workplace misconduct over the last 2 years. 25% did. Minority groups were disproportionately, I butchered that.
Disproportionately.
Thank you. Affected. Women experienced harassment 30% more than men, and non-binary employees experienced it 43% more than men. Finally, only 66% of respondents who reported an incident felt that they received support from management. So I'm not going to say too much from this because I'm actually going to do the next coffee games on this topic because I've already done 2 Ubisoft videos. I might as well do this one.
This is true.
So I won't say too much. So I'll leave it for the video. But Liz, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's unfortunate, but I do like that he is handling it because I remember when the original news came out about everything, we were wondering what they're going to do about it. And so it's nice to see that it looks like he's been spending most of their work days instead of like doing projects and stuff. Like I'm sure they're still doing projects, but he is taking time out of work days to conduct studies and making sure that everyone's voice is finally heard.
Yeah, 100 interviews and 40 focus groups.
That's a lot.
That's nothing to stuff at.
Yeah, so I'm just happy to hear that they're trying and they're working on it, and hopefully it all comes out on the better end.
Yeah. I've got a lot to say about this, and including the letter, I've got a lot to say about that. I'm going to save my thoughts for the video because I could be spending all night on this, but we've got a guest coming on pretty soon. We do. So definitely look forward to that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, if you want to see the next Coffee Games video where I'll be discussing this more into more detail. But and I know the news will be a week old at that point, but you know what? It's my channel. I do what I want.
Our channel.
My channel. Okay, our channel. I'm sorry. And Floki's channel. Anyways, so that's the top 3 gaming news. Number 3, EA pulls an advertisement from a children's magazine. Should they be forgiven? Would you like to kiss them on the forehead? Would you like to not do that? Write your thoughts in the comments down below. CD Projekt Red enforcing a mandatory crunch time. But, compensated. Do you think this is a good idea? Is it a bad look for CD Projekt Red? Write your thoughts in the comments down below. And Yves Guillemot, this letter that he sent out, is it a good sign? Is it a bad sign? Is it stupid? I don't know. Write your thoughts all in the comments down below. But with all that said and done, let's bring in our guest. We're going to bring on Kate Marsh herself, also known as Dayeanne Hutton.
Yes.
Who's a fantastic actress, fantastic Twitch streamer. I'm so excited to talk about the ripple effect of DONTNOD with our next segment with our special guest, Dayeanne Hutton.
Woo! Coffee time.
All right, everybody, we are back with our very special guest, the other queen of Twitch, not just Katie Bentz. Don't listen to my words over here. It's Dayeanne Hutton.
Woo!
What up? Thanks for having me back, guys. I don't know about a queen, though. Maybe I'm the hot dog of Twitch.
Oh, no. Yeah, because when Katie Bentz was on here, we just said she's the queen of Twitch, and she's like, oh, no, me and Dayeanne are both the queens. So you are now the...
that was nice of her.
Co-queens.
Co-queens of Twitch. But
I don't know. I don't feel very queenly. I feel more like the court jester. Baby, I'll take that.
I'll respect it.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be royalty. Some of us need to be jesters, and I fit that role.
Yes.
But here it is. Dan, we want to have you back on the show because, one, you're such a pleasure to have on. You're such a good person, and you're so funny.
Thank you.
By the way, her Twitch account will be linked down below. Dayeanne Lincoln. It's so fun. She's playing Mass Effect. Are you still playing Mass Effect? Mass Effect Mondays?
I am. I just finished the first one the other day, and I moved on to Mass Effect 2.
With Kate.
And yes, and I'm continuing my Mass Effect Monday through October, even though usually October is just scary games. But it's kind of scary. It's not really, but I don't know.
It's got some scary parts, but
yeah.
That's good. Yeah, no, like fantastic. I love your hype train emoji. Just the energy you bring to your streams is just fantastic. But even though I can't always make it, if I do make it to a Twitch stream, Abraham Lincoln. But
hey, listen, I appreciate everyone who makes it whenever they can. Some people come in and they're like, I'm so sorry, I haven't been here. And I'm like, hey, it's cool. We all have lives. Like, please. I'm not thinking badly of you. I get excited actually when people who've been gone for a really long time come back. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good to see you.
That's why it's good to be subscribed to Dayeanne.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do it. It's in the description down below. Let's just get started with our topic, because the other reason why I wanted to have you on, because you played a very important character to everybody's heart, Kate Marsh, on Life is Strange. And also Alyssa. Alyssa is very important.
Your personal favorite.
It's my personal favorite because I like to rewind the football to hit her in the head every now and again. But
and every other torture that happens to her.
Poor Alyssa.
I hate playing with you.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about the ripple effect happening with DONTNOD, but especially with the Life is Strange series. And I want to get the topic rolling here to us personally here at this table, including TV Box Dayeanne right here. But how has Life is Strange and DONTNOD affected us personally, right? And I want to start with our guest, because I feel like Life is Strange has affected you very personally. So Dayeanne, let's start with you.
Yeah, that is yeah, absolutely. I mean, they changed my life, and I'm not even being hyperbolic. There we go. Yeah. Hyperbolic about it. Like, if I hadn't been on this game, I would have never been on Twitch, which is now my career, which is now like so much of my life, which supplements my acting career and keeps me like going between acting jobs. Like, absolutely changed my life. Just getting me to be a part of this franchise, and then, as a result of that, being a part of the community and having the supportive community. And I absolutely would not be here today without DONTNOD and Life is Strange and having been a part of it.
Man. And it's crazy, like the road you took until there, and the effect you took in just the performance of your character. It's incredible. But yeah, I mean, Life is Strange personally. Liz, what about you?
I mean, Life is Strange was what got me in the video games.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have been able to have this podcast with me if I didn't play Life is Strange.
Yeah.
Or if I didn't play it. I watched PewDiePie play it.
Yeah.
That was my first experience with it. And then I was like, I don't like his choices. Can I play? Like, I want to do other things.
Myself, please.
Yes.
Because he actually did not save you. I'm sorry, off the roof.
I'm not shocked that PewDiePie did not save me.
He doesn't pay attention, like, to anything. And it drives me crazy. He's like, what am I doing? I'm like, she told you 3 times what you're doing. What do you mean, what are you doing? But yeah, I mean, so Life is Strange got me into video games as a whole. I mean, I don't count really Sims because that was like the only video game I played.
Yeah, that's a different game.
Yeah, exactly. So like, this is what got me into like the community and showed me that video games aren't just like shooting games and like Halo type stuff. It's like, it can be a story and it can be chill and has nothing to do with your ability at playing video games. So yeah, I mean, it impacted, because like I said, otherwise I don't think you would have even asked me to do this podcast with you.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The Life is Strange changed my life because it got us into video games together, as a married couple, and that was fantastic. But Life is Strange affected me personally only because I saw previews of it and I'm just like, it's a game about a quirky teenage girl in a high school. I'm not
only
really...
reminds you slightly of your wife.
Only slightly, but I think after playing just 30 minutes of the first episode, it changed my life to see that how can video game stories be told differently? And of course, Telltale did it too. Like, I think Telltale did it before.
They're such different, like, because I've played some Telltale games now, though, just the style is so different.
It is.
Because like Telltale still has that kind of comic book vibe.
I was just about to say,
almost like a graphic novel that you're playing through. So it kind of just I don't know. Walking Dead is still pretty immersive, but more relatable maybe because there's like a more realistic kind of feel to it.
And that's the thing, is that I feel it's more comic book graphic novel because Walking Dead has some real issues in it, but not in the way that Life is Strange does.
But the plot point of Walking Dead is not realistic. It's not something that everyday person is afraid, like worried about happening.
Yeah.
Whereas Life is Strange, like other than the rewind powers apparently.
Yeah.
Like clearly, but like the big main problems are things that people face every day.
I think just episode 2, just the end of episode 2, where he had to save Kate off of a roof.
And yes, that's great.
Yes.
Had.
Yeah.
You have no choice, people. You have no choice.
Yeah, like really, if you don't save her, and that's the thing, it did not hold back. It had you so invested into Kate, and even just with 2 episodes, just within 4 hours, you're feeling for Kate, and you know exactly why she's on that roof, why she thinks this is the only way out. You get to read the postcard from her dad, and it just DONTNOD did not hold back, and it just made me realize that stories can be this way in video games, and it can be accepted, and not only accepted but executed extremely well. And I think it affected us personally so much in that way. And I'm just talking about the 3 people at this table.
Yeah.
Even though Dayeanne's a TV box. But, you know, that's
She's
beyond.
at the table.
They're in spirit at the table.
You are there in spirit on the West Coast, but we're over here in the Beast Coast, you know? No, don't do that. Okay. But now we're just talking about the 3 of us. Now, I want to talk about the community now, right? And what surprises me is that Life is Strange built this phenomenal community. It's not just a now before I move forward, I do want to ask this: do you feel like Life is Strange is a cult classic, or it's more than that? It can't be a cult classic.
It definitely dips its toes, I feel like, into cult classic world.
Yeah,
but it is so much more widespread. Like a lot of people, even if they haven't played it, know about it and like maybe want to play it, and maybe that's also like I think good on the marketing team, because so often, you know, like the first episode was free for so long, and so a lot of people just grabbed it, or like they have sales all the time, and so people just grab it and then they get to it. And there are cult classic vibes, I feel, with it. And I think almost it's like, maybe a better way to describe it is like, as a whole, it's pretty mainstream at this point, but there is a very dedicated section of the community that is much more like cult classic vibes. Like, which like they're the same people that like, there's so many in my stream who I love it, and they will watch anyone play the game. They love watching new people play it. They've watched it a million times. They want to watch new people experience it. And for me, that's a lot like, you know, Rocky Horror Picture fans going to live shows and dressing up, you know, it's like a similar kind of thing. Like, so definitely it's hit mainstream, but there is a section of the community that's really taken it to another level in a really good way.
And that's what I mean, is that there's so many, like you said, there's one section, but there's so many other sections of this that when I say that, is it a cult classic? Like what you said, it kind of toes the line, because there are definitely sections where it takes itself to a cult classic. We even had on in the last episode of the Tell Me Why episodes, Mike Ketty, who co-founded a Life is Strange fan club that's so widespread. And that's the question I do want to ask. How do we feel that DONTNOD and the Life is Strange community, how do you think they felt in developing this community? And Dayeanne, that's the other reason why I bring you on, is I feel like you're an expert on this, with you and one of many experts, but you are part of the community. And not only that, but you've built a community on Twitch, and you're within that Life is Strange, as are we, but not like you, the queen of the community, I would like to say. But how do you feel at DONTNOD in developing this community? How do you think they did?
I don't think any developer of a game or a show or anything can ever know the community that will grow out of what they create. I think it's a testament to how honest and true and good and just pure the intentions of the developers were, that this community grew up around it, because I think that's something that people really feel with the game, even if they don't realize it. Like, they're feeling the honest, raw passion of these devs, and that led them to create something beautiful, which then leads people to connect to it in this other beautiful way. So, I don't think that the devs had any idea. I mean, actually, I feel like I kind of know, because when I went in to record after the second episode had released, because we were like recording while things were releasing still. And like, they told me the scene in the hospital they had written, but they weren't sure if they were gonna put it in, because they were like, I don't know, like, not everyone will save her. Do we need this? But the fan reaction to Kate was so strong. They were like, I guess we're putting you in again, because they will murder us if we don't.
Oh, no.
So, not murder, but like, they will be upset if they don't get to see her after saving her.
Yeah.
So I think we were all so surprised by how well this small little game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was released by Square Enix, but DONTNOD is such an indie small studio at the time. And so they had no idea what to expect. And I think we were all over the moon, pleasantly surprised by it all.
Yeah. And I want to bring it back to you, because when you said that they weren't sure to bring you back in for that hospital scene, right? How surprised were you personally, Dayeanne Hutton of Abraham Lincoln? How surprised were you of the fan reactions to your character, and how has it rippled effect into your community?
I mean, I definitely was surprised, because I went in with zero expectations, like, it was a new game. Like, I didn't know anything about games at the time. Like, I didn't know who Square Enix was at the time. And everything's so secretive and all this. And I was just like, I've got a video game coming out. I hope it does well. I fortunately, and like, I'm lucky about that this has happened, was before I did Life is Strange, I was in a kind of classic web series that was a modern adaptation of Emma, and called Emma Approved, and that had gotten a lot of the creators had done one about Pride and Prejudice previously, called the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, and it had blown up. It was like lightning in a bottle. YouTube like blew up, loved it, and so we were in the second one. So it had a fan base, and so I was prepared, I guess. Like, that was a fan base that, like, my Twitter blew up after that started airing, and like, I was used to being on the internet and responding to fans of my work. And so it was actually wild to me that right after this web series I booked another role where an even more passionate and extensive fandom came and took this other character I didn't like, and held her so close to their hearts. So I was prepared, but not ready and expecting it, if that makes any sense. Like, I knew how to deal with it, but I wasn't. I was very surprised by it.
Yeah. Because I feel like you and I was going to say, oddly enough, but Steph had a good role in Before the Storm, but I feel like you and the character of Steph Gingrich just had this massive fan take on like the reality of life, right? And I feel like they attached a lot to Kate March. I was about to say Katie March. I don't know why. Maybe because I was thinking Katie Bence, because of Steph Gingrich, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like they saw Kate Marsh as a victim of bullying, right?
Yeah.
And I said this before, the community of gaming, right? Back in the old days of 2002, you had a lot of bullying and just to enjoy video games.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like we relate to that a lot, because we had to go through that. And the way that you performed as Kate just felt raw, emotional, and real, that it was incredibly relatable. And I feel like that's why it attached to your character a lot. And of course, the other characters. I'm not trying to discredit anybody's performance on that, including the pasta elitist himself. But
I love Nick. Okay.
I mean, he was a fantastic character too.
Yes.
But this is about Dayeanne Hutton, Adam. Don't get off topic. But
it's okay.
But I do agree with you that I feel that Life is Strange, it has its pockets, right?
Yeah.
It has its fandoms. That one takes it a lot more seriously, a lot more passionately, but others just take it to be this great emotional journey that they went on, and they appreciated it for what it was. Because I feel like that's how you took it.
Yeah.
I don't think yet you're part of the Life is Strange fandom as in very strong cult-like construction, but you were on this journey. And, would you say that that's true for you?
Yeah, because like it kind of matches up with the types of shows I enjoy too, where it's like I really enjoy like the drama and just like things always happening and trying to figure it out, and just constantly worry. I don't know why, but it's like constantly worrying about something in a TV show. Like I just love a good drama show.
Yeah.
And it goes well with Life is Strange. It's very dramatic.
Yeah.
And something's always happening.
Something always.
They took like all the possible like worst case scenarios of adolescence and like shoved them all into one game, which is why I think it's like it's hard to not find a character you relate to.
Exactly.
Like I personally relate to Max as like the awkward, shy, don't know what to do kind of person. So there's someone for everyone to relate to, I feel like.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of like who I connected with a lot. I don't know. I kind of felt for more characters more than related for them.
That's true. Yeah.
I think because a lot of the main like big characters were female.
Yeah.
But you did relate to them because you just kept saying that Max and Chloe were exactly like me and Lane.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh my God, it's you and Lane. Like
all
the time you kept saying it. So you still were connected to the characters because they related to two people who are very important to you.
I related a lot to Frank in some ways, but you know, that's stories for another day.
You really like beans? Yeah.
I do love beans, actually.
This is true.
I do like beans.
I think that's like a really good point that you make, that, you know, even though a lot of the main characters are these females going through things, and I feel like a lot of guys are able to relate, like if they have had been bullied or gone through similar things. But even if you haven't, like you're saying, even if you didn't personally see yourself as one of the characters, you still really felt for them and sympathize and understand and be like, and like you say, like find people in the other characters who you care about, which is why I think it's such a cool game, because it's like, hey, look, you can have these female characters going through emotional shit and even guys will relate. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Dayeanne, we don't curse on this podcast. That's strike number 1 for you. I'm just gonna write that down.
Sorry, I don't even remember what I said.
Well,
I blacked out.
Well, you already have 1 strike, Dayeanne. So 5 strikes, and you're back on the podcast.
You can bleep it. You can bleep me.
We're too lazy. But that's the thing, is that I in terms of just the community, I feel like this would be the last point on the whole community jargon, I guess I'm trying to put out, is that, you know, this game, it does relate to a lot of females, the LGBTQ community, but me being a white, cis male who's also a Christian, I felt for these characters.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm also left-leaning, so that's points off for me. Oops. But
you're so strange.
But even with my demographic, it reached to me, and I showed my friends it. Like, you gotta play Life is Strange. Oh, why? Because I said so, and I'll punch you in the throat if you don't. And they played it, and they loved it. I haven't found a single person who's played Life is Strange and they didn't connect with it in some way. And
except that one time I showed episode 2 of season 2 to our friends. We're like, this is a great game. Watch this. And it was like the worst episode.
We're not talking about rules right now. We're talking about Dayeanne Hutton. Don't get off topic right now.
I'm just saying that there were 2 people we haven't gotten yet because they watched the worst thing.
That's
the worst
true.
one.
None of them the worst ones. It's a little differently. You know, don't burn the bridges of Life is Strange 2, people. Anyways, but let's go on to the ripple effect even further here, right? And since we're talking about the effect of this, you know, building community and affecting us personally, now talking about game development in of itself, do we feel like Life is Strange had this ripple effect where it was more accepted that we can talk about real issues in the medium of video games? That it doesn't have to be shooty, bang, bang, pow, pow, doom. But Dayeanne, what do you think?
I think so, because I remember, like, when it first came out, I was trying to read all the articles that came out about it and trying to, like, gauge, like, how is this game doing? I have no idea about video games. And that's something I saw a lot of articles writing about. And like we said before, they didn't start this. Like, The Walking Dead or Telltale was doing this a little bit, you know, Until Dawn hit it, you know, like, there were other games, but this one, I think, I don't know if it's like at the time it came out or what, but I think it definitely opened the door for more story-based, emotional, like, look, the cinematic. I know at the time it was like fairly cinematic for a bunch of video games that were out. So I do. I think it definitely didn't not affect things. I can't say with like too much authority how much it did, but it definitely did something.
I feel like it, like, because kind of going off of what Dayeanne said was that, you had Telltale, you had Until Dawn and things like that, but I feel like this is the first one that I've seen that it dealt with just regular, like, it was like watching a regular TV show. Like I said, it reminds me of my regular drama shows. Like, it wasn't something upscale like Until Dawn where it's like not completely realistic.
That would that's like a horror genre.
Like, it's specifically like a movie, whereas this dealt with real life things. And that's why drama series are popular, I feel, because people are like, oh, I've been through that. Or I've done this. Whereas no one's been haunted in the woods by their friend / a monster.
Right.
Like, you know, like.
Yes.
Whereas drama series, like, you've dealt with a suicidal friend or suicidal thoughts or missing your best friend or disconnecting from a best friend and getting someone back that you, like, things like that. Like, a lot of people have dealt with that. And I think this is one of the first games to deal with something that's real and almost like a TV show that you're running the show.
Now, to combat your one point about you've never been chased down by monsters. Now, here's the thing. Have you ever visited West Virginia before?
No.
Well, there's a many of monsters in West Virginia.
I said haunted by your friend / monster in the woods.
Have you been to West Virginia?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Andrew Orsi has been to West Virginia. We'll ask him next time he's on the podcast.
Yeah, it'll probably be.
But this isn't about Andrew Orsi. This is about Dayeanne Hutton. My goodness. Stay on topic,
exhausting.
Lizzie. But no, I do, as someone who's been into video games since the NES days, well, when I was a kid and I had an NES in 1995.
Say, you weren't around for the NES days.
Listen, I have a time machine. You don't know. But I've been following since I was a kid, right? And just to see this kind of game, because there have been story games like this, very similar to this in the past, right? I'm trying to remember when That Dragon Cancer came out, and that was a very emotional video game. I want to say it's a little bit before or maybe a little bit after Life is Strange, but it didn't really hit like Life is Strange in terms of consumer marketing, right? And I feel like this game really put that kind of projection of just saying, you can do this and people will accept it, right? And I feel like a lot of people were scared to do that. In the same way, I believe Life is Strange came out in 2015, didn't it? Something like that.
Something that makes me feel incredibly old,
I think it came out December of 2014, maybe early 2015. You know what game?
So that's something like that sounds right.
Yeah.
You know what game also came out in 2015 was The Witcher 3. Came out in 2015, and that also led the charge of RPGs.
Yeah.
Am I saying that Life is Strange is equivalent to Witcher 3? Yes. But in the same light of leading a charge into a new era of gaming, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Witcher 3 led the charge into RPGs, and this is the way RPGs are going to be made. Same thing with Life is Strange. You can make emotional, real, raw life issues in a video game, and people will say, I'm in for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that development for games has changed for the long run because of this. And now, before I get into my next topic, we're about halfway through. So I'm going to give a chance for our listeners to answer some questions. I have 2 answers from social media. Oh, boy, everybody. You can follow us on... Oh, boy. Right. Thank you, Dayeanne. You're always a pleasure to have on. You can follow us on Twitter at Gaming Groceries, or you can follow us on Instagram, Games and Groceries, all one word, or you can follow us on that toxic wasteland of Facebook. Go ahead and do that if you want to hate yourself for that.
Y'all are brave. Y'all are brave being on Facebook.
I know. We even upload our videos to Facebook. I'm like, why not? And I'm just, ugh. Anyways, so follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll ask you a question. And the question I asked all of you is, how has Life is Strange affected you personally, right? And first, I want to read the one answer I got on Instagram from Volt Supreme, who actually designed the theme song to Games and Groceries, by the way. You should definitely, I mean, really talented artist. Definitely check. I have his website in the description down below. But I said, how does it affect you personally? And I have 2 different kinds of answers. Volt Supreme says this: it was a fun game. One of my all-time favorites. That's about it, though. I don't think games have a great impact on my personal life. It affected my gaming life, quote unquote. I guess as it definitely raised the bar and standard at a time when I was not expecting it. Fun times. I wish I could have played it all again for the first time.
Oh, yes, I know the feeling.
So I definitely feel for Volts, where he's saying that it doesn't affect me personally. It won't take me into the long run, but it raised the bar for what games can be and his all-time favorites of all time. He didn't say one of. He said all-time favorite, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to misquote him there. But Dan, what do you think of that?
I think that's great. Like, it just goes to what we were saying before of like, even if you don't have a personal cathartic experience with it, like seeing... I don't know, just going through something that the characters went through, you can still very much enjoy the game and very much be affected by it, not in the same way, but like there's the people that have like a really emotional experience through the game, and then there's other people that just love the game, and that they're both so valid.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely feel for him there, because I'm not an actually emotional person. I'm actually a robot in real life.
Oh, goodness.
But it is one of my all-time favorite games. I have explored Life is Strange universe in many different facets, and I'll go back to it many different times, and it does affect me in a way of this is how gaming can be. But I want to read Commander Nikki's topic on this, which is a different way, and it's interesting because it's praising this podcast, so I love it. At Commander Nikki on Twitter says, I know this podcast, Games of Groceries, because of Life is Strange, which is crazy.
Oh.
Well, I know it because of the Greatest Story Ever Played podcast. Liked my Captain Spirit tweet way back then. But from there, I got to you. I'm like, oh, cool, great. And nearly...
little...
backstory
there of how they found you, always super fun.
Yeah, like any way people find us, whatever, man. In a back alley, who knows? And nearly all of the podcasts I listen to as regulars as their episodes appear. Also, it poured gasoline into the burning love for games, and I love that last statement there. But yeah, with Commander Nikki, she actually found podcasts with Life is Strange. I want to build this community. I want to be involved. I want to talk about Life is Strange. Also, it poured gas. Yeah. And I think with this, we can break it down to some people play Life is Strange and they want to build a community. They want to reach out to people like, did you feel something?
Yeah,
and connect
they want
with
to talk about it. They want to be like, oh my gosh.
Dayeanne, what do you think of this?
Of people wanting a community to talk about it with after?
Also, how great our podcast is, but either one,
goodness,
whatever you want to start with.
Incredible podcast, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Oh, thank you.
And then in terms of people, I mean, if you have a deep emotional experience with a video game, like why of course you would want to talk about it. And with like-minded people. And what's so beautiful is, I think, because so many of the fans had this experience on like a personal, compassionate level, it built a more, I can't speak for the entirety of the fan base, I'm sure, you know, there's toxicity everywhere, but
of course,
it built a very compassionate community of people that care for each other and are very understanding and are very like and I mean, that it's hard to talk about this without tying it into my stream community, because I built my stream community off the cornerstone of the Life is Strange community. Because I started with playing the game, and that's what people came to watch me see, or came to watch me play. Words, I talk for a living, it's fine. But because of that, and then because I was, you know, the voice of Kate, who goes through this huge mental health crisis in the game, I began advocating for mental health. And so on my platform, on my stream, like, we're very open, and people come in and they say they had a shitty day, and like 5 people will be like, are you okay? Do you need to talk? We're here for you. Like,
that is
it's so nice. And I take it for granted, I've realized, because I just assume that the internet's gotten nicer, and then I'll like read stuff that other female streamers are tweeting that happens in their channels, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't happen ever in my channel. I've like created this like metal armor of like kindness and compassion that trolls don't even like try to break through, and I'm like,
I love it.
This is great. And it's and like I said, I contribute it to Life is Strange because that's the fandom I like siphoned off for my own work. So it's incredible.
Now, I do want to take some time for you to roll out the red carpet for you. And I will leave some links below, but you are involved in some very good, incredible mental health communities, and as well as some companies that do involve themselves. So I wanted to take some time, talk about the organizations. Thank you, Adam.
There you go.
Good brain. The organizations that you're involved with that does deal with the mental health.
Absolutely. So I'm a streaming ambassador for Take This, which is an organization that aims to end the stigma around mental health. In the days of conventions, they made sure that there were mental health panels. They had doctors and psychiatrists and professional mental health people. That's not the word I wanted to use, but it's all that's coming to me right now.
I know.
They made sure they were on the mental health panels. They would provide AFK rooms where people could go if they got overstimulated or overwhelmed, and they're just these like nice quiet rooms with coloring books and soft music that you can just go to, because I get overwhelmed at conventions. We raise money for them a few times a year. I refer people all the time to they have a huge resource page on their website of both free and pay for mental health resources, like helplines all over the world, apps, therapist directories, all kinds of stuff. I refer people to it all the time, and I've been using it trying to find like a online app counselor situation since I'm 6 months into quarantine, and like, I maybe need a therapist again. Things are not good. So yeah, they're the main I know there's other incredible organizations. I donate monthly to B.E.A.M, which is the Black Emotional and Mental Health organization that specifically works with Black communities. And other than that, those are the only 2 I kind of work with right now. There are a few I want to look more into, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Definitely send me any links that you would like me to put in this description. I definitely want to bring more light into these organizations because you are doing great work, especially with Take This and, of course, B.E.A.M. If you have the time, listeners, definitely take some time to look into these, see if you want to get involved as well. But yeah, thank you for doing this, honestly.
Of course. I fell into it through Life is Strange, honestly, and I couldn't be happier that I did. Because it's helped my awareness and my understanding and made me more aware and compassionate. And I've seen the need for like having a mental health positive space online. And I know I'm not claiming to be the only one that does it. There's amazing other streamers that do it as well. And I'm just glad it's becoming more normal.
Yeah. And that actually jumps into like my next topic here. As we're kind of wrapping up the show here, news actually broke out that the team at DONTNOD is actually developing their own studio to work on new IPs. And a lot of people are saying like, oh man, does this mean the end of Life is Strange? I want to talk about why this is actually great news, right? Talk about the real ripple effect. And we've talked about a little bit about the effects of us personally, the community, even just being aware of this a whole mental health. I was about to say debacle, and that sounds horrible.
Not the right word.
We'll just end it with that.
The lack of awareness is a debacle.
Yes.
The lack of awareness is debacle. Mental health is not a debacle, depending how you define it. But why is this actually good news that DONTNOD is making this? So, Dayeanne, you actually went to Twitter and congratulated Luke and Michelle. Yes, I am not French, and I apologize.
I know. It's fine. Yeah. I only know I've met him, so I like know how to say his name. I'm like, we're good.
I know. When I saw him in an interview.
I would know from Gilmore Girls.
Well,
because what's his name?
That was Michelle.
This is Dayeanne's time to talk. You know, like no, don't talk
okay,
about my.
Why don't you hush?
Gilmore Girls is fun.
Gilmore Girls is awesome.
Hey, don't talk about my lack of French knowledge. You know, but. But you did go to Twitter and congratulate the two, and why is this actually good news? And Dayeanne, I want to hear your take.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think people realize how big DONTNOD was already. That there were separate teams working on separate games all the time. You know, like clearly we had the Life is Strange team, and then there's a different team that did Tell Me Why, and then a different team that's working on Twin Mirror. So like it's a big company. It's bigger than you think. And the only reason I think people think it was small since Deck 9 did Before the Storm, but the only reason Deck 9 did Before the Storm is because the DONTNOD team was simultaneously working on Life is Strange 2. So they obviously didn't have the time. Which I know because of Nick Apostolidis, who has told us when we've interviewed him on my podcast, Gaming and Gabbing, shameless plug.
Dang it, Dayeanne. Now they're going to go to your podcast. I'll link that below, too.
They're both valid. He was recording his lines as Frank Bowers in Before the Storm. At the same time, he was recording Charles Erickson for Captain Spirit and Life is Strange 2. So those games are happening at the same time. That's why it went to a different studio. But Luke and Michelle are they're like the big producers and brains of the original Life is Strange. And don't you want to know what else they have to say?
Yes.
Like, how exciting is that?
Yeah.
And now they have their like a specific studio just for them where they're not working. You know, it just means DONTNOD's expanded even further. I know Luke had been living in Montreal for a while. So now obviously Michelle is joining him. But I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean the end of the Life is Strange world, but and I know that's hard for people to, they just want more of what they already love.
Of course.
But these guys are great. Like their messaging and their heart and their compassion's not changing.
Yeah.
It's just,
and you can see
we're going to see some different stuff from them. Like maybe they're going to do a horror game. I don't know.
Ooh, okay. Spooktober, we're here. And that's the thing. I like what he said. It's like we can see more from them.
Yeah.
And this gives them the opportunity to reach out to more. And I think the only reason why they got their own studio is because of how well. Yeah. By the way, touching a little bit about your Nick Apostolidis interview, one of my favorite episodes ever, just because
he's a fantastic human.
I know he's so funny. Just hearing about how he choked himself in the Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
that was a great
out.
story. But I remember him talking about that. Well, not that, but also when he said that he was recording for Frank Bowers and also Erickson, Chris? Charles. Chris is the son. Yeah, Charles Erickson, and he had to do different kinds of dynamics, and that had to be difficult. But so there's a lot more into development there, but now they just have much more room to expand themselves, and then we get more emotional storytelling. And as I said before, in terms of game development, right? Now we got more opportunities that more games can be developed and accepted, and that just reaches out to more developers to say that, you know what, I want to do that too. Just like skateboarding games are going to come back, for sure, because of Tony Hawk. Anyways, what are your thoughts about this?
No, I definitely agree that this is just a great thing for DONTNOD because, like Dayeanne was saying, they get to tell more of what's on their mind and what they want to, stories they want to tell. And you can see that they have more to say just from Tell Me Why. And we're still all very excited for Twin Mirrors.
Yes.
Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Twin Mirror.
Whatever.
Yeah. Singular.
Yeah. That one.
That one.
Yeah.
But they have every time I see a trailer for any of those games, I get so excited.
Yeah.
So it's I don't think it'll be the end of those types of games.
Right.
It might be the end of Life is Strange. It might not. But we're not. It's not the end of this insane emotional storytelling that makes us all want to just shake on me what are you doing to me?
I know. No, it is upsetting only because it might be the end of the era. I think they came out and said this doesn't mean that there won't be a Life is Strange 3.
Yeah, it just means it's not their only focus.
Yeah. I think he made it clear it doesn't mean that.
I am still waiting for the Hot Dog Man standalone game.
Yes.
I've told every single person that works at DONTNOD whose path I've come across that I am expecting a Hot Dog Man game. And they're like, oh, but you have Mustard Party too. I'm like, no.
No, that doesn't count. I want
a full game.
That's like saying when The Simpsons was on that one comedy show just for the little shorts. We're not asking for a short. We're looking for a whole 33 season show out of Hot Dog Man, okay?
Yes.
Which, by the way, you all need to be following Luke on Twitter because he's doing 365 days of Hot Dog Man.
Oh my
Honestly,
goodness!
I'm mad I didn't think of it first.
I know.
I'm like,
and the pictures
so brilliant.
And pictures of the cat and reacting to it. But no, we're talking about Dayeanne Hutton here. Quiet, Adam. We're getting so off track. It's Dayeanne Hutton's time.
I'm synonymous with Hot Dog Man at this point. You're good.
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's the thing is that it's fantastic for the not just storytelling games, not just that, but also just games as a whole, because now we can have more acceptance of that. And I think it's a good time to go into closing thoughts here.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts. We don't have a little soundbite for that. We will soon.
What?
Patent pending. Now, my final thoughts, closing thoughts for this is that this is great. Now, there is a ripple effect happening. We've spent now 5 years, almost 6 years now, in terms of Life is Strange releasing, the very first one.
Yeah.
And now we get more games coming out of it, more acceptance. We got this huge fan community on Twitter, the Life is Strange fan club. And there's a Discord channel for it. We had, of course, Mike Hetty on it. And that community on the Discord is just way out of proportion with how much love is on there.
Yeah.
And now we got Dayeanne, who's doing her streams, the ripple effect going into her career, all because of this one game. And we get acceptance out of all of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's just fantastic. And more games are going to be releasing where it's going to be this impactful and this, I want to say this impactful, but at the same time, there are going to be people who are going to be inspired and say, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just great for us who want more of these types of games that deal with real world issues.
Yeah.
Dayeanne, closing thoughts?
I feel like, I don't know. We've had some really great discussions here. I'm like, it's just
whatever comes to mind.
Up to everything we've already said.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's absolutely, if a ripple effect in that way, yeah, absolutely. There's just a wild kind of thing where it's incredible that the fans, there's still people discovering it for the first time too. Like, I'll have people come in my stream that are like, I just played Life is Strange. Oh my God, it's such a good game. And I think that's so cool that people are still playing it for the first time. And it's just, it has such a life. I didn't expect, I didn't know what I was doing. I was expecting this like game that like 5 people would see. Like, I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. And it does. Every single person I've met through Life is Strange, that's worked on Life is Strange, such just good people. Like, it just is one of those like beautiful little projects that attracted the best people, and I'm so grateful I'm even any part of it at all.
It's fantastic. I mean, like I said, just your streams all together, like you said, you have a metal armor to keep out trolls. Just that effect that you had on the community is just ridiculously awesome. Especially for, like what you said, people being nice on the internet.
What?
Is it backwards then? Liz, what about you? Closing thoughts?
I'm kind of with Dayeanne where it's like, I don't know if there's really any closing thoughts to this. Like, we've kind of talked about like every end of the spectrum of what this game has done.
Yeah.
And it's just, all I can say is that like for me personally, this game means like a lot to me and the whole community. Like, I consider it all like more of just DONTNOD, not even Life is Strange, because even Tell Me Why had the same type of vibes on it. So it's just, I feel like it should just be renamed the DONTNOD community.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if this is the type of game that they're going to continue producing and this is like the only genre they stay in, which I'm not saying they have to.
What about Vampire?
I know.
Oh, that's
I still have to play that. I have that. But that also, like, I feel like that was being made at the same time as Life is Strange. So, like,
yeah, true.
And I haven't looked to see, like, there's one. They had a game, Remember Me.
Oh, yes. They did way before. Back in the 360 games.
Yeah. Yeah. So, they're finding I think they found their voice. Like,
yeah,
they were finding their voice, and like I think they've got it.
Yeah, like they kind of found their niche. Like, oh, we're good at this.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep doing that. True. But yeah, I mean, it's just ripple effects in the game and ripple effects in real life.
It's all good.
It's all good.
So
there's no closing thoughts to this.
So before we actually close out the show, I want to roll the red carpet twice for Dayeanne Hutton. And
double layered red carpet.
I know we got so many layers. You might as well say it's 2-ply, but
that's toilet paper.
I know what I said, Dayeanne. So like I said, your Twitch channel. You were also working. Last time we talked, you were working on a Scooby-Doo. I was about to say a remaster. I'm thinking about the Tony Hawk's remaster, and that just came to mind. Fan project, and talk about anything that you're working on, projects, anything we should keep our eye on. What's going on in the world of Dayeanne Hutton?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I stream at Dayebraham_Lincoln. It's DAYE. I am so close to 10,000 followers. I'm less than 100 away, and I cannot believe that at all.
Get on that, people.
I also have a podcast with my friend and actress and streamer Amber Plaster called Gaming and Gabbing, where we gab nonsense about games and also have really cool guests that we interview. And that's super fun. We're on our 2nd season now. The Scooby-Doo project you mentioned is a fan interpretation of a darker kind of supernatural esque version of Scooby-Doo, and we fundraised earlier this year, and then Corona hit, so we are just waiting patiently, not so patiently, to be able to film it with regulations in LA, it's not been doable yet, which is sad because we were so ready to go. But it's called Mystery Incorporated. Do look out for it. Other than that, I think those are the main ones.
Hold on. Let's go back to gaming and gabbing, because you said season 2, but you had a very important guest that you just revealed on season 2. Who did you just have on your show?
I'm like, which episodes are out? Because we've been recording them. We had my very wonderful friend Stephen Chang on our podcast, who is the voice of Jesse in The Last of Us 2. And he has no social media, so get at that podcast to learn anything about him.
I know. That's why I was like, oh my goodness, that was such a great find. I mean, Life is Strange... my goodness, Last of Us Part 2 was such a controversial game. And of course, his character was... kind of in the works there. Like, do I like him? Do I not? But guess what? There's a person behind that character, and you get to know him a little bit more through gaming and gabbing.
Woohoo.
Get on that. It's another G&G podcast, so you'll love it.
Yes, we're the other G&G podcast.
The other G&G. I think we're the other G&G. You guys are much more successful than us. Who knows?
No.
Dayeanne, I guess the last question I have for you before we close out the show, favorite flavor of Cholula? Go.
I didn't know there were other flavors.
What?
So I just would buy the normal. I didn't know. I now know, and I'm going to try them all. So.
No, well, I would say start yourself up. Now, what's your heat level? Like, do you like a lot of spice or just a little bit of spice?
No, I do like spicy, but I am pretty sensitive to it. So I'm like a mild kind of girl.
Try the chili lime. Chili lime will probably be for you, or the sweet garlic chili. That's okay. I love the sweet habanero, but that's got some heat to it. But I think you're going to like the chili lime.
Tuck this away.
Bang. But also try the sweet habanero, of course.
Oh,
always.
I'll try them all.
Yeah.
I'll have like a tasting session. This will be great.
And report back to me if you will. Thank you very much.
I'll let you know.
Which one's your favorite? But for now, it's just the original. Thank you, Dayeanne. Once again, original Cholula lover here. But it's always great to have you on, though. Like, such a fun blast.
Thank you so much for having me back.
No problem. Honestly, no problem. But yeah, again, anybody who's listening, anybody who's watching, definitely check out Dayeanne's Twitch channel, Dabraham Lincoln. I'll have those links to the organizations down below. They will be in the forefront of the links. Definitely check out those organizations. And other than that, definitely follow us on the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. And we thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Remember, for the love of God, wear your mask, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye.